On January 12, 1981, New York City police officer Robert Walsh was just getting off duty. He stopped inside the BVD Bar and Grill to grab a drink before heading home. Suddenly, 5 teenagers wearing masks and brandishing firearms attempted to rob the business. Officer Walsh tried to protect the bar owner, and he was shot by then 16-year-old Richard Rivera. The bullet entered his shoulder, knocking him to the ground. Now, Rivera could have fled the scene at that point, but instead, he stood over the officer, pressed the barrel of his gun to the cop's temple, and he executed him. Now, Ithaca and Tompkins County politicians want this killer to be part of an advisory group to reimagine and reform policing. How on earth can this be possible? Let's open an investigation. In 2020, as the global outcry for police reform canvassed the world, cries for defunding and redesigning policing ran rampant. Now, none of the world's police commanders argue that fine-tuning and continued dialogue is necessary, and it can result in better policing. But the warning then from the police community was that defunding police could have negative implications. And I believe we're seeing it play out with increases in violent crime and personnel challenges as police agencies around the world are reporting a mass exodus of experienced police officers. They're leaving the job because they can no longer trust the people that hire them, the government, and they can no longer afford to do the job of protecting the public. When Officer Walsh was savagely murdered, the assailant was soon arrested and sent to prison. The killer, Rivera, spent 39 years in prison for the murder, but he was paroled in 2019. And by the way, Officer Walsh is still dead. His family still spent a lifetime without their loved one. And yet Rivera is quoted in an article in The Appeal by Aaron Morrison as saying he feels like the criminal justice process was unfair. In fact, he's quoted as saying, "You did something that was horrible and you can never make up for it. But we are nobody's throwaway creatures and nobody's disposable." What about Officer Walsh? Well, now he's released from prison, and Rivera is working in a nonprofit that provides shelter and food to the homeless. That is a great thing and a great accomplishment, and I'm glad he's finding a way to give back to the community and his fellow man. But I can't help thinking of Officer Robert Walsh, the 12-year veteran and father of 4. Must I remind you that he and his family were thrown away by the killer's bullets many years ago? Is this really the best choice for a community as they look at police reform? The New York Police Department's Police Benefit Association President Pat Lynch recently, while agreeing with the Walsh family, said, "It's outrageous and despicable. Not only did this cop killer get paroled, but now he gets a seat at the table to help dismantle a police department. Did anyone expect him to be fair and open-minded in his review? The entire process has trampled on the ideals that police officers like Robert Walsh upheld. It's the ultimate disrespect to his service and sacrifice." Personally, in my shock and anger, I want to make sure you understand I'm certainly a proponent for forgiveness and change, but I'm also a stickler for justice and accountability. I cannot imagine the pain that this must be bringing to the police family, and most importantly, to the Walsh family. Is this really the kind of person that Governor Andrew Cuomo wants on his Reimagining Public Safety Collaborative for police reform? I personally hope that Ithaca and Tompkins County public officials rethink this hurtful appointment. Now here's a question for all of you. Do you think that someone who was convicted of the execution-style murder of a police officer should be allowed to sit on any kind of board that looks at defunding, reorganizing, or eliminating our law enforcement agencies? I'm really looking forward to your comments below. And I want to just take a moment and thank you for supporting Profiling Evil. I hope that you'll hit the like and the subscribe button. By doing so, you're going to be reminded of other updates like this, and you'll get a chance to hear firsthand my thoughts on the criminal cases around the world. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon at the next crime scene.